Hey yo, welcome to BBoyTechReport. This is Corey coming to you to present this really dope piece to you. It's the Phenol by Kilpatrick Audio. Now, lately, and actually I've reviewed Modular stuff before, and I've been really getting, digging my heels into Modular lately. Thanks for the influence by Upright and Flux. But what I'm doing here is I'm going to talk to you about the Phenol, and it's a little different because it's kind of like a patchable modular synth, but it's one unit. If you had to, I interviewed Andrew Kilpatrick a little while ago, and I asked him if you had to take the components that's in this patchable modular synth and make it into, a system of individual modules, how much do you think you would spend? And, it's considerably, it's a considerable amount of money more, in fact, than what this thing costs. And I think this is, actually, you know what? I can't think of the price right now. I'm thinking $6.99 or $7.99, but I'll go ahead and drop it right here in post so you'll see exactly what it costs. But what I'll do is, it's a modular synth, so let me dig in and kind of show you some of what it's about. I'll let you hear some of the waves and stuff, but right now we'll just take kind of like a tour of the interface and the build and that kind of stuff. So this is the Kilpatrick Audio Phenol review on BBoyTechReport. Let's get into it. So, all right, let's check this out. This is the Phenol by Kilpatrick Audio. And if you look at it, it's a very different design for in terms of the fact that this is considered a modular synth. It's modular because it's patchable, right? So I guess you could say it's a patchable synth, but it has a modular aesthetic, and it's designed by modular builder Andrew Kilpatrick and Kilpatrick Audio. I'll just go around it a little bit so you can kind of get an idea of exactly what it's like. It's metal. It's a metal casing, which is pretty dope. It's pretty sturdy. It's got a little weight on it. I always like a device with a little weight on it because, it says to me that it's, sturdy and well built. I'll go around the back here so you can get an idea of what we have there. On the back you have the, I'll just have you look at it and then I'll tell you exactly what it is. But actually, it's USB on the back. You have phones, you have line out left and right, the power switch, and the power. You also have in the middle here, that's the ground. So if you're connecting this to external devices, you'll want to use the ground, like external devices as far as modular synths or systems. And then you have the external end 1 and 2 on the end over there. So the bottom is metal, has a couple of rubberized feet on it, and I'm using this on a case, so that a stand I should say. So that's what's dope. Let me pull back a little bit. I'm kind of doing this one-handed because I want to give you kind of the feel of what this thing is like. Right, so like I said, on the back you have, it's labeled right on the top, so you have external 1 and 2, the external inputs. Then you have the ground, like I said, that is to be used if you're connecting it to an external modular synth or something like that. You want to make sure it's grounded. You have the DC in, the power switch, then you have the line out left and right, the headphones, and the USB connection, which is pretty dope because you do the USB connectivity and you kind of get MIDI connectivity. You can do all the controlling, and it actually shows up when I'm using it with my MPC. It shows up as another MIDI device, so that's cool because you can also send clock and all that kind of stuff. So let's talk about what it has on the panel here. The panel has an oscillator. The oscillator, this is, it's two oscillators, right, that are identical. So it has pitch in, a coarse tune, fine tune. It has FM level, PWM level, and pulse width. Right, so then you have, just get in a little closer, FM in, PWM in, and the pulse width modulation, in case you want to be a little more specific, but PWM in, and then you have sync in. Beyond that, you have the outs, right? So you have the outs for external in, so you run something through the external in, and then, you get it out here. You have the triangle out. You have the ramp and the pulse. Like I said, oscillator 2 is exactly the same, so you can see that there. Moving on to the filter, you have filter cutoff, FM level, resonance, and it's a low pass filter. Filter 1 is a low pass filter, and you have the in, FM in, and the out, right? All that stuff is patchable, so obviously it's a patchable synth. It uses banana clips, so you can easily, get the patching with the banana clips. One source of, actually, it wasn't a source of frustration at all. It's just that I realized once I got it that, if I want to use this with my other synths, then I'll need a special cable that Kilpatrick Audio sells. I don't know who else sells them, but Kilpatrick Audio sells a cable that's banana clip on one side and 1/8 inch on the other side. So it's a regular patchable cable, but it allows you to kind of interface, patch in this one, and then on the opposite side it's the typical connection that you would use on your other patchable modular synths or whatever. Right, so they sell those cables there, so that's a huge thing. That's the what you'll need in order to use it with something like a BeatStep Pro or any other patchable modular type of sequences or any kind of stuff like that. So okay, so we have the low pass filter, then we have filter 2, which is a band pass filter. So it's pretty cool to have both of those there, that you can kind of scope the sound and really get deep into the sound a little bit. So that's the filter 2 band pass filter. You have the cutoff, the FM level, the resonance, you have the input, the FM in, and the output. So there's similar filters, but obviously one is low pass and one is band pass. Then we have the VCAs. So you have 2 VCAs, and they're pretty much identical as well. So you have the amp levels, you have the input, you have amp in, and then you have out. And as I said, they're identical, so you have in, amp in, and out there too. Moving down over to the envelopes, you have 2 envelopes, and the envelopes are a little different. There's you can kind of use these buttons here, and I'll explain a little more about those, but just to kind of give you the interface, you have envelope 1, and depending on how you toggle those buttons, you can get above this line, right? For these first 2 knobs, you'll have uptime, downtime, and then you have this knob here that has a couple of different modes, 1, 2, 3. That's controlled by this particular button, the second button, right? And so with this envelope, if you want to be able to control the oscillator speed and level with the envelope, then you need to toggle that first button so that you can kind of get what you need out of it. So that takes a little bit, you get used to that. But so the envelope, it has 3 knobs. These are kind of like multi-mode knobs, so you can actually use uptime or speed there, or downtime or level here. And then you can kind of control the character of what it's doing with this knob. It has gate in, speed as well, and then it has the output. You can really kind of transform what the envelope does for you by using these mode buttons here. There's 3 mode buttons. The first button toggles between the envelope mode and oscillator mode. If you take a closer look at the first 2 knobs, you'll see the envelopes have dual operating modes demarked by the envelope and oscillators, right? So you can see that here. In envelope mode, knobs are uptime, downtime, like I just said, and in oscillator mode, the knobs are, these same 2 knobs, but they deal with speed and level. So that's how that works. The second mode is used to toggle the modes of the third button, right? Like I said, so that's the second button here. You toggle the modes of that. So what that does for you is it takes you through the modes, which are step, and gate delay, and scale quantize. So that's what you get when you work with these knobs right here, or with the third knob. And for the third and final mode, you can use that as an output mode. The three modes of the operation used for the output mode are normal, inverted, and absolute value. So that's what you get. You see with the output, that's what you're toggling when you're working with that. And envelope 2 is exactly the same. You get everything that you get with envelope 1 on envelope 2, right? So here already, let me see, just by going from everything up top, that's 1 module, 2 modules, 3 modules, 4 modules, 5 modules, 6 modules, 7 modules, 8 modules. Now we move on to the LFO, because every great synth has to have an LFO. You want to be able to kind of modulate what you're doing. Okay, so this is the LFO, and you see it's very responsive, obviously. All right, speeds up with the as you tweak the knob, and it has random out and sine out. Okay, so then it has the adder. That's another module. The adder, you have N1, N2, out 1, out 2, and the divider. And I'll get more into, you know, if you read the review, you'll kind of understand a little more what these things do, but really just want to go over the interface. And, you know, obviously running a little longer than I want to, but I want to kind of give you an understanding, because this device is perfect for the person that wants to get into modular, that has not yet gotten into modular. You know, I think it's a great entry point at the price point that it is. So you have the adder here, then you have the divider. The divider has an input, out 2, out 3, out 4, and out 6, right? Then you have the MIDI module here, MIDI to CV. You get pitch out, mod out, gate out, and clock out. And kind of like a little added thing is the loop player, kind of like the sequencer. It's a very simple sequencer. You can record by just hitting that guy and playing what you want to play. You know, of course, if you have a MIDI keyboard attached or a beat step or something attached right there, you can record a sequence. It'll do a simple record, you toggle the button and it stops. Then you can play the loop, and this button is very specific. If you hit it once, you play. If you hit it twice or hold it, you loop, and it continuously plays. So you do that, and it stops. That played a loop. Obviously, I don't have the sound just yet, so it played a loop. But if you hit it twice, or excuse me, if you hold it, it continues to play the loop that you've recorded, and then you can, you know, do whatever else you want to do and tweak the knobs and all that while it's doing that. You hit it again, it stops, right? Okay, so like I said, that has a pitch out, mod out, gate out, and clock out. Then you have the mixer, right? So that's kind of like the final step in everything that you're doing. So you patch all your voice in and everything, and you do whatever routing and stuff you want to do, and finally it comes into the mixer. You have 2 inputs for the mixer, and you know, the out is obviously back here, line out or headphones. You know, you have a level for each input, you have a pan for each input, then you have the master level. Now, what's also dope is that for this to be a standalone unit, you get yet another kind of hidden module here. It's not hidden, but it's not necessarily demarked like it, you know, these headings, like here. And that's the delay. You have a delay right in there, and it sounds pretty good, right? And you have the master level and everything. So that there is the Phenol, and that's by Kilpatrick Audio. Like I said, it's pretty sturdy. It's perfect if you have some sort of stand that you want to put it on. You can use one of those IKEA laptop stands, or you can use this Crema Cafe stand that I'm using. It's kind of perfect for it. Let's just kind of look under there, right? And it's just dope. I think it's pretty dope. It's solid. right? But one of the only little things that I have about it, you all probably know I'm a little stickler for knobs, but at the price point and at the functionality and everything that you get, the knobs can be a little wiggly a little bit, but everything has something that there is about it. But overall, this is well built. I dig that it came about via crowdfunding. So that's another thing that's pretty dope about it. And as a matter of fact, it's just sexy. It's just a nice design. It's pretty well designed. Even when you start kind of plugging things in and kind of going through all the patching that you can go through. And I'm just, doing things at random so you can kind of see what it looks like once you have things patched in. Right. Okay. All right, so that's just a couple of cables. And I think this thing comes with like a dozen cables and the power cord, and you'll have to provide your own USB. But this is the Phenol. So let me duck on out right now. What we're gonna do is come back and check out the sine wave, the pulse, the triangle, and the ramp, and just kind of give you an idea of how this thing sounds. It's just a little tweaking. And then if I can get around to it, we'll just kind of see how some of the patches sound just by them and check out the delay. But before I go, before we go to actually hearing it, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 modules in this one compact thing. 13 modules, and that does not include, so you can actually say it's a little extra because it has a basic sequence of 14 and then it has delay, 15 modules in the Phenol altogether. And I'm looking at the written review where I asked him the question. My question to him is, if I wanted to represent all the capabilities of this device and build my own modular, how much would it cost, right? And what he says, the Phenol has 13 distinct sections of modules, if you want to call them that, right? But this is Andrew speaking. But I guess that building a similar rig out of Eurorack modules will cost probably $1,500 to $2,000, and the price point on this is nowhere near $1,500 to $2,000. It is $849. So I just looked at the price, and so you get all of this for $849, and you have something that's really a really well-built system that can be a great start into your foray into modular. And not only is it a great start, but it's also a great companion if you already have modular. So that's pretty dope. And that's what's always drawn me to this. So let's check out kind of how some of these waves sound. like I was saying, that is the Phenol by Kilpatrick Audio, and I just showed you kind of how the waves sound, how you can kind of blend the two waves. This is obviously a patchable synth, so the possibilities are endless, at least given the amount of patch cables you have, and whether or not you have the actual cables that can patch the banana clips to the 1/8 inch or 3.5 whatever meter thing there is to connect to the to the modular synth if you have one. But it has a ground on the back, so if you want to connect it, you'll have to use that ground to connect it to your other modular system. It's really a pretty flexible synth. The oscillators sound great, the filter is good, it's very smooth, and there's just a lot of possibilities. Now, you can do much more complex patching than I did on it, but I really wanted you to hear how the waves sound because, ultimately, like I said, the possibilities are endless. So you could jump in there and just get to patching and do all kinds of things. You have a sequencer like the SQ1 by Korg, or if you have the Beat Step or the Beat Step Pro or any number of other sequencers, you can actually use the USB to go to Ableton and run any kind of other sequencer you might want to do, or ARP or anything like that. But I mean, it's a really flexible little piece. It's made pretty solidly. The knobs at times can be a little wiggly, but even there, it's not the worst that I felt. I definitely dig what they have going on. I dig the fact that, if you look at it back here, it lives quite nicely on the desktop. I could imagine a situation, since I am, from BBoyTechReport and Beat People, my perspective is the beat maker. So a lot of us haven't gotten into the modular world just yet, but if you're thinking about getting into modular, this is a great place to start. Yeah, it's $8.49, $7.99, depending on where you get it from. But you'll have something that you could really start to understand synthesis for one, but then modular synthesis for two, and the patching. But that gives you an idea how it sounds. It gives you an idea of how it can be used. And quite frankly, my opinion on it is that it's dope. I've been watching it for a long time. So Andrew, good looking on sending this over. And I dig it. BBoyTechReport, Phenol by Kilpatrick Audio. Check us out next time.